fundamental difference. We said, but someone must be responsible for them. I said, yeah, of course they are. They are still, of course they are privatized, so they are not completely state-owned, but they are still state-controlled. So there is a ministry, so to speak, in Switzerland, which is responsible for the Postfinance. And the head of the department, responsible for the Postfinance, just happens to be the president of Switzerland. He's called Moritz Leuenberger. So we wrote him a letter saying, well, we had a talk with the Postfinance and we think they have a severe problem. And we have the impression that our problem report was not well received. And of course he said, well, I will take care of that. I will advise them to take the necessary steps and to do what has to be done to improve security. Okay. Well, you can't control it if that really happens. You simply have to believe it. And for whatever reasons, the postcard, and that all happened in the year 2002, it drifted a bit out of focus. So we were busy with doing other things, and it was interesting, but simply probably not interesting enough. So that 4 years later, and now we are back, now we are in 2006, I was working on another smart card project and thought, well, maybe it's a good time after 4 years to see what was changed. So the French in 1989, 1999, sorry, yeah. They changed not the system, but they changed the key length to 768-bit, which is at that time the least they can do. So to be not to punish them too much, but at least they changed the key lengths so that not everyone with the laptop can factorize the modulus in a day. But they didn't change the overall design. So the card itself, of course, is possible to handle longer keys, because it's not doing any encryption on the card itself. It's just storing plain and ciphertexts. So I thought, maybe it's a good idea to have a look, because at the time we talked to them in 2002. They said, well, you know, we are just about changing the postcard system anyway. We want to switch to EMV cards, and we are just in the last field tests, and if these field tests are successful, we will switch immediately. So they simply stated they're just before a rollout of EMV-based cards, which would be the standard by now. And so I thought maybe they have switched to EMV cards, which would be the best way to do or to handle the problem. Maybe they have changed the key length. This is what the French did. Or maybe at least they changed the compromised issuer key. We said them, we have the key. Maybe they didn't believe us. No? Okay, so I asked some friends for their card data. I said it's not very easy to convince people to put their card into your reader. But in the end, I ended up with enough data to try to find out what has changed. And I was prepared to factor at least another modulus. Guess what happened, yeah? They haven't changed the key. It is still the old compromised 320-bit key. I was really surprised, because doing really nothing wasn't understandable. You know, the revenue of the card is about 8 billion Swiss francs. Of course, that's not the earning of the Postfinance. This is the money total transaction volume of the card. But of course, just take a little percentage of that as the revenue for the bank itself, or for the Postfinance itself. You know that a lot of money is earned with the system. So you can surely invest some money to at least change the key, or at least lengthen the key, yeah, or switch to another system altogether. They did nothing. They simply left it the way it is. So I phoned them again. They didn't remember me, funnily enough, and said, "Sorry, yes, we got a request from you about the security of our postcard. Sorry, we can't tell you how it works. We're so sorry, but it's secure, of course." And that's it. And so we wrote again to Mr. Leuenberger and said, "Well, we wrote you 4 years ago and just found out they haven't changed the compromised issuer key, so what's going on there?" And after 4 years, for the very, very first time, the Postfinanz responded themselves. They must have read the Fahrplan. So they wrote a nice letter. It's very interesting because I've never read such a letter with so many self-contradicting statements in 1.5 page. Never before. So it's all German, so I have to translate it on the fly. It says, in the first place, you showed us in 2002 the security problems we have, and we closed them. The next, more or less, the next sentence is, but in the end, the key doesn't matter anyway. It's not, the security of the card is not related to the key in any way. So why then fix anything? So it goes on and on. So anyone interested can read it before I tear it apart and throw it where it belongs. Maybe we should scan it and put it onto the web so everyone can read every communication, even with Leuenberger. Okay, fine. Okay. So for those interested technically, the Chaos Treff Zürich has set up a workshop. It takes place on the 3rd day. You see, from 8:30 to 9:30. And everyone is invited to join this workshop where we will actually analyze the card data. Anyone can bring his own postcard. That would be nice. We will extract the modulus. I will show you how to extract the modulus if you have the data of 2 cards. You don't need the terminal. Normally you need the terminal. But there's a mathematical method to extract the modulus. And then we can probably factorize. You know, it took 24 CPU hours to factorize the modulus. Maybe we can set up a new speed record. So bring your PC with you. We will set up a QCIV, a distributed factorizer. A simple piece of software you can download onto your computer and take part in factorizing it. So maybe we can get it in an hour or maybe in half an hour, depends on how many people join this event. I think that would be fun. And anything else you want to know about the postcard and if it still works, and what about the PIN and PIN changes that are possible, and what you can do. Just for legal reasons, I can't tell you what we exactly did, but I can tell you what you should look at. And so anybody interested, again, you're invited to join the workshop. Yeah, so in the end, of course, it's always the question how to handle something like that beyond the fun we had. Should we inform the press? And, you know, the Postfinanz didn't change a thing, and I don't believe they are simply stuck their head into the sand. So there must be something behind it. And we always thought that a bank or a financial institute, at least, simply can't or will never put its reputation on risk. But look in the newspapers today. There's not a single day where you do not read something about phishing, something about insecure online transaction or stuff like that. So they certainly knew if we go to the press and if press is here and interested in it, no problem. But it will be a story. It will last for some days, and then it's gone. I'm quite sure that the Postfinanz actually thinks that the press coverage will not change anything. And maybe it simply needs other methods to show them what's going on. And I will close with one sentence. It's German, but I hope most of you will understand it. We said, jedem Penner eine Karte für einen Denner. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bernd. I wish I could call this story incredible. Unfortunately, it isn't. Now, are there any questions or comments or experiences of your own? Could somebody with a microphone go there? Well, then just shout. I'll repeat the question. Well, the question was whether the usage pattern had changed significantly since the first. Yeah, the terms of use.
No, of course not. No, we just recently had a case of a person living in Germany but working in, or he had worked in Switzerland. He lost 20,000 Swiss francs. He had his card. He was injured and he was in hospital. He had his card. He did some transaction on the public ATM there, but then put his card into a locker in the hospital. And while he was in hospital, within 3 weeks, 20,000 Swiss francs just go away, you know. So someone exactly drew the maximum amount possible every day from his account. So he said, I have a card misuse because my card was definitely in the locker. I gave it to no one. He simply couldn't prove his case. The lawyer I talked to simply didn't understand the technical issue behind it, and he got 10% refund. So they didn't change. No, why should they change? It doesn't cost their money, you know. It costs the customers' money. So.
Well, further questions, comments?
Oh yes, one question, because so many people had the postcard, and one of the statements of the Postfinanz is that they are issuing EMV cards already. I've never seen one. So if you have a postcard that you received not long ago, maybe we can check if their statement is true. I have never seen a postcard with EMV capabilities. You can tell by the ATR that these cards are not EMV capable. They would be simply rejected by a terminal. Right. Sure. It's just to prove if it's all wrong what they write, or if they at least did the rollout in the end. I didn't believe them either, so I do not trust them. But at least we could check if it's true or not.
Okay, one last question, maybe you.
There were funny things going on. We talked to the press after talking to Mr. Leuenberger. Funny things happened. One of the newspapers we were talking with, the journalist came to us and said, well, he presented it to his chief, and the chief said, well, we can't publish the story because we need the advertising of the Postfinanz. We were in contact with Kassensturz. Everyone in Switzerland, of course, knows this TV show. No, it's not a TV show.